Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Holy shnikes, we have made it, and my hell has it been a long week. It's been a short week, but somehow it's been an incredibly long week. I'm not sure how that's possible, but somehow it is. I don't know about the rest of you, but man, with the shortened, we had Monday that was off and holiday for some of us, this meant we worked a lot harder. And then like this week has just been like a crap ton into one. And so it's been a little crazy. And all you're thinking, Brooke, you said you're going to have a guest on today. Don't you worry, little friends out there in internet land. We do. Don't you worry. We're going to get to that in just a second here. But I did want to welcome everyone in. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're going into a great weekend. On top of already being a short week, we have Chris's nieces getting married. So Amanda and Mike, early congratulations and early just happiness. We're as soon as I finish up here, heading out to the wedding. So super, super stoked with that. And it'll be a good time had by all, as one can imagine. So super, super excited about that. It'll be a very crazy weekend, I'm sure. So Monday recap on Monday might be a lot of caffeine involved on that one. So I'm very, very excited about that and super, very excited for them. Just it will be two incredibly great human beings, and so happy for the both of them. So very, very excited about that. So today, man, this is someone that Laurie Halter. If you all don't know Laurie, man, do whatever you can to meet her, get connect with her. She is just a down to the core amazing human being. I mean, you meet her and you automatically are a better person. She is this just as I mean, you just gravitate to her because she's such an incredible human being. So I don't want to spoil too much of it. We'll jump into our conversation. She is, and we'll dive into her, but she's an owner. She has her own business. She's had for 20 years. She has her own podcast. The podcast is just blown up. I mean, she's everywhere. I mean, she's the super connector. But at the end of the day, her biggest and most impressive title is mom. And so on top of everything else is that she is just an incredible mom. So without further ado, we're going to kick this bad boy off. We're going to get this wonderful, awesome, incredible interview with her going on. So without further ado, everyone, we're going to get this party started. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your week and enjoy the interview with Laurie, the awesome Laurie Halter. All right, everyone, all right, everyone, welcome into another awesome episode of Facts Not Feelings. And man, I have been just itching like crazy to get Laurie Halter on the show. So I am so insanely excited, everyone. And quite honestly, you should be too, because we are all blessed to be in the freaking company of Laurie Halter.
Oh, come on, anytime with this introduction. Awesome.
And for those that don't know, we're going to get into the introduction here, and I'm going to let her do the introduction of herself because, I mean, if I keep going, I might bust into tears or laughter. One of the two, I'm not sure at this point. But not only is she a boss babe, an extraordinary, I mean, you meet her and you're just like, do I have VIP passes right now? Like, is there a red carpet rollout? I'm not really sure. But we'll start with first off, since we're on podcast land and YouTube land right now, she's the podcast of Carearing, which just champions everybody. She's also an owner of Charisma, which I'm going to let you jump into this, but I just want to first say that anyone, and I know that a couple weeks ago, I had spoken a little bit about this, but anyone that knows you or knows of you just knows of your amazing giving and just your champion spirit. And hey, you don't know so-and-so, let me introduce you. Hey, let me introduce you to this person. You're just constantly thinking of how can I not only help someone, how can I better this industry? How can I better this world? And it's just, for anyone that's in the room with you for 2 seconds just knows, hey, I'm a better person for knowing you. And that's just, I'm so grateful that we were able to connect and to meet each other and to call you my friends. So with that, I'm going to hand that over to you and just tell us a little bit about your amazing podcast, your company, and how you got into this crazy industry.
You are so sweet. You're almost bringing me to tears with the introduction. Okay. Well, I'm honored to be on. And like you said, we connected not too long ago, but we instantly had a connection and instantly liked one another and felt a bond. So I'm so happy to be with you this morning. Yeah, I'm the owner of Charisma Communications. I've had that. It's a PR firm in the space that I've had for over 20 years now, which is like so crazy to me when I think about how long I've had this PR firm. And I'm so honored that I've been in the industry for that long and able to connect with so many people in the industry. So we do content needs mainly for the tech vendors that sell into the dealerships. And I have a full team that does everything from social media writing to press releases to articles to white papers, pretty much any kind of automotive content you need. And then also I'm the host of the Carearing podcast, as you said, which is such a delight. We're in year 3, and it really champions women, career women who are working and striving to have an amazing family and home life at the same time. And so it's really about like the balance. How do we balance that as females, moms, wives, friends, career gals, like that whole thing. So yeah, it's been great. I've had everyone from Carearing is coming on in just a little bit. You know, we've been honored to have Natalie Bourne on. Like, there's so many people. Subi Ghosh will be coming on in a bit. So just really inside and outside of automotive, but amazing women doing amazing things.
And that was some nice name dropping there, by the way. Like
Did
Carrie,
you like that?
I was like, boom, boom, boom.
Well, I am in PR, so we got to just like, name drop. That's kind of my deal.
That was, yeah, I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed with that one. Yeah, just to talk about incredible human beings. Yeah. And just incredible women all at the same time. Like, it's not that women aren't human. I didn't mean like that, but
we're superhuman. Women are superhuman. Let's be honest.
Yes. And to be able to juggle everything all at the same time. Yeah. And both those women you just mentioned, it's just amazing to see that they have just taken off. Yeah.
And the cool thing about them is, if you have not had the chance to get to know them in person, you really should, because they're just wonderful as well. So there are some people, not many, but there's some people who you see online or you meet them and you're like, oh, wow, they're so wonderful. And then you kind of meet them and you're like, left a bit to be desired. But not these. These women are genuine to their core. What you see is what you get. And they are just lovely as people as much as career women and individuals. So honored to be having them on the show soon.
And it's funny you bring that up. So digital dealer meeting, met a couple people, a few, to say the least. and that was brought up quite a few times, is that there's so many people that are having their podcasts or YouTube series, and they are one way online, and then you meet them in person, you're like, you're not the same online. And then when they meet me and other people, and they're like, you're exactly the same. I'm like, well, what would you expect? Like, that's what you see is what you get with me. And for a lot of reasons, one, and I know Sean Welsh says the same thing. It's just like, if you're going to do business with me, you better like the way that I am before you do business. And that's one of the reasons you and I connected, is that within the first, 30 seconds, an F-bomb was dropped. You're like, hey, that's why we're going to get along so much.
This is totally my jam right now.
I was like, this is who I am. Either you like me, you don't like me. And that's, and that's okay. People, if you don't like me, that's okay. I don't need to be liked by everyone. That's okay. So, but it's what you see is what you get. And there's some real truth to be said by that, but I understand that some people
I'll tell you, this is so great. And I use this all the time. She's probably like, okay, enough. But Carrie Wise said in one of the women in automotive rooms we used to do, she said, my goal is to be better in person than people see me online. And like, it just really hit me. What a goal. What a beautiful, beautiful goal. I just thought, oh man, that's it. She's got it figured out. Like, that's it.
I love that. I'm going to steal that from her. I'm going to creatively borrow it from her and give her all the props.
Just like use it, because I've been spreading it all over the place.
Spread the good news. It's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and kind of going back to that, is that one of the many things that we've just, kind of going off this right now, is champion other people. And you speak to that so well, and you live by that. That's like, it's so ingrained in your soul. And talked about that a little bit, just how, not just champion, but having them find the best of themselves in them, and how that helps not just them, but their business themselves. Yeah.
I so appreciate that you see that in me. And I've had some people say that to me, and it is the greatest compliment I can receive, because everyone that I connect with, they're just so special in so many ways. And so really the thing that I love the most, whether we're in automotive or the Carearing podcast or my friends or the people I meet, it's really like, what is it about this person that really is unique and special, and that they bring to the table that no one else can bring to the table? And so finding that in them and bringing that out. And then, like you said, I love connecting people. Connection is my love language, connecting people. So then the ability to then connect them with the other right people who can either push them ahead or make them see something else about themselves that they didn't see, or create a partnership in the space. I just think that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to do. And I just feel really fortunate to be able to do that in our industry and introduce people like yourself, maybe to people who haven't met you before, because I'm very, very passionate about everyone has a spark of inspiration within them. And that spark is unique to them. And it's what makes them special, and it's needed, whether in our industry or, not to get too woo-woo, but in the world in general, everyone has a spark inside, and it's all about bringing that out and sharing that with the people around you.
I could not agree more. And I think especially now, more than ever, is to find that spark.
Yes.
Whether that's yourself, whether that's a manager in your employee, whether that's a manager yourself, whether that's an owner. It is so imperative right now to find that, because if you just ask, and this was discussed at DMSC, it's been discussed multiple, not just there, it's discussed in many different aspects, many different podcasts, seminars, keynotes, whatever. If I say, hey, Mr., Mrs. Salesperson, whatever, service advisor, so you want to make more money. Great. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to make more money. But why? What money's great, but why do you want to make more money? Well, I want to travel. Well, great. Where do you want to travel? You get to the root of why do they really want the promotion? Well, why do they want more promotion? Well, they want to make more money. But why? Keep asking the question why. When you get down to it, at the end of the day, they want more time off to travel. Well, that's the reason why. That's why. Well, maybe they want to be a manager to be able to lead. Well, that's what they want to do. That's really what they want to do. It's not necessarily about the money. They find the reason why, and you can help them get to that point. So when they do start making that money, hey, now they can go give them the time and provide them the avenue to go spend what they want, their time doing what they want to do. So they come back, they're all super refreshed and charged to go do more of that, to then go do what they want to go do. But it's you got to find that mindset.
No, you're exactly right. And I was speaking with John Traver of Traver Connect the other day. He's so incredible in this regard. And he said something really important. He said, the only thing money does for you is create more time and create more ways to help people. And this is exactly what you're talking about. So in that exact example, more money would give them more time, this person. And if you are the leader of this person, the money that you can give them gives them more opportunities. So that's the way to give back to that person. And I just really love this idea that money is not necessarily, yes, we all need money to live. Of course. But at the end of the day, how can we use our money and our time and our resources to really help those around us to be better versions of themselves? And when you start looking at money that way and earning that way, it takes on just a whole new meaning for it. And so when he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, John, yes, that's it. You've hit the lotto in terms of what more money means. Because as you so succinctly put it, money never means just more money. There's always a reason behind the fact that people are trying to get promotions and trying to move up the ladder and try to make more money.
It's just a title on a card at the end of the day. So what's the real reason behind it?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reason.
Exactly. Yeah. I think more people in our industry, and it's coming. I really feel like it's coming. I've seen more discussions about this. More of our clients and leaders that I work with are very, very focused on this. It's this idea that how can we lead in order to build other leaders? And how can we create a spark in the individuals who work for us and work around us because when they're excited and when they're working toward a goal and something that they care about, they're going to work harder overall, and that's going to that will be better for our industry. It'll be better for the people who work for us, and it will be better just in general.
Yeah. And going off of that, there is stereotypically, not all the time, I'm going to make it very clear, it's not all dealerships in our profession, in our industry, because there's a lot of people doing it the correct way. Very clear on that.
Yes.
There are some, on the other hand, that just say, oh, you know what? Little Billy sells the most cars, so Little Billy's going to be the next manager.
Yeah.
Does Little Billy have any idea how to be a leader or how to manage?
Yes.
No.
Correct.
Not at all. So now
and
you put Little Billy.
That salesperson may not have the traits and qualities needed to truly lead other people to find their own greatness. Because generally the people that are going to be the most competitive, they are wonderful and they do bring certain things to the table that are needed, but that may not be your best next management hire.
Yes, because a lot of times, and if it's not little Billy, we'll take little Susie now. Little Susie has been trained to be cutthroat, to win at all costs, and that may be great for sales, but as a leader, how are you now going to go back to, how are we going to train that leader to train other leaders and to grow and to be a team versus I.
Exactly right. I have always wondered, I think it's so interesting that we require courses for so many things, like in business. We require certificates. We require, for like Google My Business, you go through Google and you get your Google My Business certification. I think it's fascinating that we don't require leadership training or skills or lessons for the folks that we're bringing into our organizations to lead people, because it's a very, very different mindset. And we see some people, like you said, that are doing it extremely well in our industry. You mentioned David Long earlier because you're going to have him on the show. David Long is a perfect example of someone who gets it and who is leading in the correct way. He's leading with heart. He's finding the inspiration for the people on his team, and he's using that inspiration for the people on his team to make them better, which makes the team better. And I think, that is really the goal. That's where all of the beauty comes from.
Couldn't agree more. So in fact, speaking of which, so I was texting him about something compliance wise and GLBA and blah, blah. And I texted him, he texts us back. He goes, that is a Stephanie. Stephanie's their digital marketing director and e-commerce, everything guru. And he goes, that's a Stephanie question. She is the brains of the office. And I just go, so I call up and I go, Stephanie, this is straight from David. And she just like, yep. All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. So she gives me the answers, but just like, he understands that, hey, there are things I'm going to surround with people smarter than me. And I know that Stephanie's an incredible human being and she's great at what she does. Have at it. And so he empowers those people and knows, along with all the amazing things that he does. I mean, anyone that's on Clubhouse obviously is following him and listening to him on Friday. He's just a very smart individual. He also knows in order for me to get better, I'm going to surround and empower my people to do what they got to do. So it's
100%. And like I said, there's so many examples of that in our industry. There's just so many people who are doing that and have that mindset. And I've really seen the shift almost through the pandemic, which is so interesting. I think going through COVID and all of us working from home, and a bunch of us had kids working at the table with us. I ended up working out of my room during COVID on this small, tiny little side table next to my bed, because there were people in every single area of my house working. So I think it gave us this beautiful example of like bringing our lives into the workplace, and had people suddenly understand that like these are individuals with families at home and needs and wants and desires that are above and beyond what they're doing at work. And how can we really kind of facilitate this whole balanced approach to that?
Oh, I could not agree more. And going through all that and how coming out of that, how we evolved, how we evolved since 2020. Have we gotten better? Have we gotten worse? Some things, it's a little bit of both.
It's a great question. And I don't know, what do you think? I actually, I'm sitting here like, wait, have we gotten better or worse? I think better. I think it's brought in this whole understanding, like I said, of people's lives above and beyond work. And so I would say better.
Yeah, there's definitely things. I mean, there's some things that force our industry into saying, okay, we're going to catapult you all into some things that's going to help not only you as a dealer, as an industry, but also the community and your clients and the consumer. There's been other things, I think, since the start of this year that's kind of, we've taken a step back a little bit. And then other things as a employee, you are more empowered now than you've ever been. You have choices to say, you know what, Mr. or Mrs. owner, dealership person, I'm just not feeling it. I can go work at Chick-fil-A. I can go work and McDonald's, I think, is offering like full tuition or something like that.
I saw that the other day. So crazy. I think they're now going after, so I have a 14 and a 16-year-old. And my 14-year-old was like, I saw a sign at McDonald's that 14 and 15s can work there, year-olds can work there. And I was like, okay, I don't want you working at McDonald's as a 14-year-old. But I think the pay was like 16 an hour. I'm like,
yes,
holy, that's actually like a lot of money for these young 14 and 15-year-olds to make.
I know. So I saw the same. I was going over the dollar store. I was walking by the dollar store, and they had a thing up there. And I took a double take. I should have taken a picture of it. And it says, "We are hiring minors." And the first thought was, okay, I don't know from a marketing standpoint if you should have put that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that
maybe you should preface that a little bit about what you're hiring, because I don't know if that's legal in Illinois. But what exactly are you doing there, dollar store? Like, you're cheap as it is, but you're hiring minors. So what cheap things are you doing with minors in the dollar store?
Exactly.
So.
Well, and I saw something the other day that I thought was so cool. It was saying that most people who have left jobs have gone to better opportunities, and they're seeing, I know I'm going to get this stat wrong, but I feel like it was like a 6 to 9% increase in pay when they moved to another job. So this person was saying, as if you employ people, and if you're the leader of people, what about a retention bonus? What if we're giving the people who stayed and who were loyal during this time and kept fighting for your company a bump this year to say thanks for staying with us and not jumping ship? And I was like, you know what? If people started doing that, if companies actually started taking that to heart and really giving their loyal employees this bump, you would see such appreciation and gratitude from your employees to do this. I mean, I just can't even imagine the positive feedback they would receive to do something like that.
So was it this week that the article broke about Microsoft doubling their budget for
that was this
salary?
Week.
Yeah, Microsoft, for anyone that didn't see this,
perfect example.
Microsoft is doubling their budget for employees due to the inflation. They're doubling their budget for salary for employees to match with inflation. Funny concept. Keep your employees because it costs more to hire new ones and train them. Funny freaking concept. And so, and going back to this bonus thing, I've gotten on my soapbox a few times like this, and I'm going to try to control my language here a little bit. It might be a little difficult. Anyone that knows me. There might be some F-bombs that are dropped here. I'll try to stop that.
Okay, I'm going to be okay with that. You're going to be okay with that.
Okay. So during the pandemic, anyone that worked as a salary employee, either you had two options. 3. 1, nothing happened to you. 2, you were furloughed. Or 3, your pay was cut drastically.
Yep.
If your pay was cut drastically and other people were furloughed, you're most likely told, oh, it's going to be made up to you at some point.
Yes, correct.
Guarantee nothing happened. You were not made whole at any point. Then all of a sudden, flash forward.
Yeah,
Let's flash.
Flash is faster than a fast, so we're going to flash forward.
Flash forward. Now you see these people, or you see your company with, wait a second, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Wait, so can I quit and then be rehired?
Right.
I stayed. I was furloughed. I was never made whole, but these mofos are getting $5,000 sign-on bonuses. What the actual hell is this?
What does that say to your current loyal employees who've stuck through this with you for the last several years? I mean, that's a perfect example of I mean, I
slap in the face
in these things. And the other thing is, if you have $5,000 for a sign-on bonus, you have $5,000 to bump some of your most loyal employees for the year, for the staying with you through the last, let's be honest, the last 3 years have been like a huge roller coaster and crazy. So if you still have employees with you that have been with you through the pandemic, the fuel shortage, the COVID, it's been nuts. So if you still have employees with you, they absolutely deserve to be compensated for that.
Yeah. And how many do you think actually did that?
Like, let's give some ideas, because here's the thing. Let's say you actually don't have the money. Let's say you're actually like, this has been a rough couple of years. It means just as much, I've talked to a bunch of people about this, to have you sit down with them, your employees, and say, where would you like to be in the next year or two? How can we set you on a growth path to get you to where you want to be? And again, maybe it's not even in the company. Like, maybe we need to start asking questions like, going back to your earlier example, what's your dream vacation? And what can we do to help get you there? Do you want to put your kids through college? And what can we do to help you do that? I mean, there's not enough of these questions happening in the leadership meetings with our employees.
Agreed.
And I think it goes back to like that spark we were talking about at the beginning of the program. What is their spark, and how can you use that to help them grow?
Oh, 100%. I mean, right now we're in a day and age where the written word doesn't really happen a whole lot. It's either text, it's either email. Heaven forbid you actually pick up the phone and call someone.
Yep.
Someone must be dead. If you call someone, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
you died.
Like if you're
Doesn't
gonna call
happen.
them, like, what is happening? Why are they
What is
calling
going on? I actually was texting a friend and a colleague, and I actually called and I go, hey, I'm just letting you know, no one's dead. I know, just want to preface this, no one's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question though. It's
Exactly.
gonna be too long of a text message. But a handwritten note of just thanking them. If you don't have the means, man, a handwritten note means so much.
Oh my gosh.
Do something different to express your gratitude. Hey, it's been really rough. We don't have the means this year to do this, but I wanted to let you know how much you mean to me and how much your efforts here. Thank you for sticking by our side. Just show your appreciation.
Yeah.
It does mean something.
To your point, this is perfect. I think it was 5 or 6 years ago now, and I still tell this story all the time, and it still means so much to me. I was working with Client Command at the time. I was doing their PR. We finished a show. It was a very successful show for them. And I opened my mail one day and had a handwritten letter from their CEO, Jonathan Lucenay, saying, thank you so much for your hard work during the show. You really made it for us. I still am talking about that note 5 years later. And I just thought, man, how cool for him to take his time as the CEO of a company to write a handwritten note and send it to me, thanking me for my time. And by the way, they paid me at the show to be there and to work for them. But just to take that time, and it gets to my other big thing is gratitude. It gets to like the gratitude mindset. And I am a huge believer in gratitude and the things that it can bring to your life. That's my other soapbox issue. So, yeah.
I could not agree more. 100%. And I grew up with a mother that was drilled so far into us that doesn't matter how little or how much you have, you always need to be grateful. And whether it's, like I said, the big things and the small thing, always express gratitude, because not at a psychological level, at a mental level, at a cellular level, like what that does for you is astronomical. You serve and you show gratitude. Always. So.
100%. And there have even been times, so a couple of different things. I was talking to someone the other day, and I keep a gratitude journal. So I do 5 gratitudes every single morning. And I was telling someone this, and he said, wow, I don't know that I could come up with 5 gratitudes every single morning. And I was like, no, you absolutely can. Tell me about your day yesterday. And, from his, just telling me about his day, I'm like, here are your 5 gratitudes. Here they are. Boom, 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 boom. And he was like, oh, wow, I guess I hadn't really thought of gratitudes. I mean, a gratitude can literally be like, we're here having this conversation about gratitude because you have time in your schedule today to stop and have a discussion with me. So I think there's always
you're breathing. I mean, come on.
You woke up this morning. Like, that's gratitude number 1.
Yes. If you're scripted, I always have this big thing as well, that if you have the means, as soon as you can, go out and travel the world. Get out of the United States. If you can at all, please get out of the United States. One, it makes you appreciate the United States a lot more and opens your eyes to, I don't care where you live, whether it's in Manhattan or I was born in Idaho. I've lived everywhere, but I was born in Idaho. Well, it doesn't matter where you're born, but it gets your eyes open to other cultures, other everything. We'll leave it at that. And because of that, it makes you appreciate things a hell of a lot more. And going back to the gratitude thing, it's like running water. Do you know what it's like not to have electricity? Do you know what it's like not to have internet? These little cell phones we're all attached to. Do you know what it's like not to have that?
Yeah. No, there were mornings during COVID that some of my gratitudes, if you go back to my journals, is like, I'm grateful my dog is laying at my feet right now as I journal. Because there was a lot it was hard to be grateful during the first, especially 6 months of COVID. Like, we couldn't see people. We couldn't gather with our loved ones. We couldn't, like, in a lot of places, you didn't have natural areas to go outside. I live in Oregon, so we were lucky enough to, I would go out on hikes and stuff every single day. But I think there was a lot. It was tough to find gratitudes during that time. But I think for the people who did, you learn that there's always something to be grateful for, always. Yeah.
And to one more thing on that is just what it does for you. And I don't want to sound like it's a selfish thing. It's just, I don't know that people quite understand what it does to you. Is just amazing. It's going to make your life so much better. Yes, you're going to be better for other people, and it's going to help other people.
Yes.
It's as bad as life is not always. Life has its ups and downs. People know I'm a very positive person. Does life still suck? Yeah, life sucks sometimes. You're still going to have bad moments, but it's going to make those moments easier to deal with those moments because you're still thinking on a positive level. It takes, as I said, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. So with that, it just makes things easier to deal with, and you're a more pleasant person at the end of the day.
I think, and then what it does, I think, also is it trains your mind to start looking for those gratitudes throughout the day.
Yes.
So you're actually searching out the moments during your day that you're saying, oh, wow, no, this will be for my gratitude journal tomorrow. So it actually creates this situation where you're looking for the things to be grateful for at all times. And who doesn't need more of that in their life? It's like, right?
Yeah. In a world that's kind of crazy right now, that's always to find those little pieces of like, there's a little nugget of gratitude. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So with that, you've got the gratitude. You're a boss babe, just kicking ass, taking names out there. How are you able to balance everything? Because you got a lot going on here, Missy.
I love it. Well, so I always say on Carearing, I literally started Carearing to try and figure out how to balance everything. Because I was like, how do women have it all? How do they do this? I don't understand. And so that was really the impetus for Carearing, was like, I want to find other women who love their career. Because let me be honest, I love working. This whole like Monday scaries, I don't get it. I love Mondays. I love starting my week. So I like working, but I also love my family. I have a 14 and a 16-year-old, and I love being with them. What I found through 3 years of interviews with leading women is you can have it all. You can have it all, but you have to have it at different times. I think that is the number one lesson I've learned. And so the way I balance is I think about, well, first, I always start with my top priority, which is my kids, always. My kids are always number one. So as long as I'm keeping them number one, the rest falls into place. But then also just sort of thinking through, like, what's the next step? What's important to me right now? What am I trying to accomplish right now? What can I do today? What small steps can I take today to get toward what I'm trying to accomplish right now, goal-wise? And that's all I'm going to worry about for today. Because it can feel very, very overwhelming. If I think about my next week's schedule alone, it's like there's client meetings, podcast interviews, my own podcast. The kids have a billion things because it's the last week of school. So there's like, National Honor Society inductions and like sports and end of the year picnics. And so it just gets like very overwhelming if you think of it that way. But if you think of on a daily basis, here are my goals. Here's what I'm working toward. What are the few steps I can take today to get there? It helps kind of break things down into really manageable chunks. And I think that's how I've been able to make it work over the last. And the biggest thing, I was realizing this the other day, I actually wrote a note to myself, like, okay, your career and work fuels you, but when it gets too much, you get like crazy town. So it's like always thinking, who can I bring? So I brought in a team. So I began building up my team to help, and I began delegating more. It's like, how can I continue to do the things I love, which is connection, business development, bringing new people in, doing things like this podcast, these live LinkedIn lives. How can I continue doing the things that really fuel me, but not make myself crazy? And the key the last 6 months has been hiring people underneath me who can take on the day-to-day execution and allow me to continue to be the strategic, client-facing relationship person that I want to be. So that has been a big lesson this year, because things have exploded for me, which is wonderful, but also gets a little bit of a fire drill crazy sometimes.
You're like, and I don't have time to breathe, eat, or sleep. But hey, not a big deal. Not a big deal.
That you and I have been to, I think for the month of May, I had 5 different trips between conferences, personal. 2 were girls trips, which were super fun. But May was absolutely cuckoo. And I finally told someone the other day, I said, I'm done saying, I think I'm to the end of my Disney period, because I'm realizing that this is my life. Like there is no
no.
busy, there is no end to the
No.
busy period. Like it's my life. It's what I'm talking about.
It's crazy. I mean, that's what we were just discussing offline. It's like, okay, so May's done. June, I know I have one trip. I have one thing I'm gone during a couple days in June. But I'm like, I think June I'm okay. I think famous last words. I'm sure something will pop up in the schedule. It's like, oh no. Actually, I was asked to go in June, like 4 or 5 days in Toronto. And I was like, look at my schedule. I was like, well, I have something already planned, so I can't get out there. But it's with Ian and Jeff with the Auto Hub show.
Oh,
and I was like, I would absolutely love to be there, but I've got something planned during that time frame. So I was like, dang it. So I don't know if I can swing it or not, but
I think that's it too.
So
this goes back to what you were asking me. So perfect. Priority wise, you wanted to do it. You would say yes, but you had another priority. And so it's really just this idea of like, what is important to you, and make sure that comes first. And then the other things come second, third, and fourth. But as long as you're keeping that 1 to 2 priorities top of mind, then everything's going to work out okay. You know, everything in the end. Yes. We may be bananas for the month of May, but it will all be okay. And even to that point, the other day I was talking to one of my kiddos in the car, and she said something really funny, which I'm actually not going to, it was about trophy wives. And I was cracking up. I'm like, okay, what do you think trophy wives are? This is so interesting. Like, she's 14. She goes, well, like, trophy wives are like, you know, the women who like get all dressed up and they go to lunch and they go to tennis. And like, you find them we have a local wine bar. You find them at the local wine bar in the middle of the day. And I'm like thinking like, well, I go to lunch and I go to the wine bar. So I said, well, okay, so who am I? What, am I a trophy wife or what? And she goes, no, Mom, you're a stay-at-home mom. Which was so not a stay-at-home mom. But if in her mind I've done a good enough job as her mom that she thinks of me as a stay-at-home mom, I was like, that's fantastic. Amazing. The only thing I don't want to be is the trophy wife at the wine bar.
You're like, wait, check.
Yeah, what am I? But other than that, I'll take any other title.
That's incredible. Wow. That's
so I took that as the biggest compliment that it wasn't my career. It wasn't my podcast. She really thinks of me as a stay-at-home mom, which just makes me so si
Yeah. And you know, kids are going to tell you the truth. So that's
and this girl tells you the truth. Believe me, she would. If she did not think that, she would not have told me.
Whether you like it or not, she's going to tell you.
Exactly. Because I've had some other zingers that were not as nice. From her.
You're like, okay, go to your room now. You're done. You're done. No more.
We're done talking. That's enough.
Oh, that's amazing. Wow. That's impressive. Man, you are insanely busy.
I would say that. And then the other thing that has happened that I was so proud of my son, Ethan, the first year of my podcast coming out, I think as moms and if you have a career, you're constantly wondering, are you doing everything right? Is everyone getting enough? Like, I'm always like, are my kids getting enough? Are my clients getting enough? Are my friends getting enough? And Ethan knew I'd started this podcast. I was interviewing leading women, and I talked to them a lot about it. I'm interviewing the most amazing women. They're doing amazing things. And my birthday's in July, and E said, I would like to host an episode of your podcast and interview you because I think of you as a leading woman doing amazing things. So he was 13 or 14 at the time. And I literally started crying because I just thought it was so sweet. Way. So he went and he did a bunch of research about podcasts and what made podcast hosts great, put a bunch of questions together for me, and interviewed me on my own show. And that's another moment I think back to. I'm like, okay, everything's fine. There may be days that are a total S show, right? But everything is turning out okay. The kids are seeing the me that I want them to see at the end of the day.
That's incredible. It's like those little moments where, going back to gratitude, is that you're like, hey, we're all human, but man, I must be doing something right with those two things. I think when your kids, or if you don't have kids, your friends, or your husband or your wife, when they're mirroring things back to you that really speak to your heart and what you're trying to accomplish, you're doing a good job. No matter how crazy the days are in between, you're doing a great job when that happens. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about right there. Is for all the other stuff that's going on, though, that's not that I won't say it's fluff. And those are what it gets us, to those fun times and whatever the why is. But at the end of the day, not but period. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Is exactly what your kids said. That's the meat of what really matters.
Yeah. Like, is the person that people are seeing on the outside, is it in tune with who you hope that you're being on a day-to-day basis on the inside?
Yeah.
And when you find that that's connecting, that what people are saying to you is in tune with what you're hoping on the inside, then you're doing a great job, and the rest is gravy. You know, everything's fine. No matter how your day-to-day goes, you are a success in your life, regardless of where you are in the path.
I'm just going to say mic drop on that one. Yeah.
Boom, we're done.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I think, with all that, it has been so fun to, catch up. I know it's been a couple weeks since, I was going through a little bit of the withdrawals from you.
I know. We got to get our good friend Darren Wigley and get him, right?
Oh,
Darren's our third musketeer, and maybe Tim Cox. Maybe we'll put him in as a fourth. Maybe.
Yes.
We'll see.
Maybe. We'll see if he can.
I think our last time all together in person, Tim and Darren and you and I were together, and it was super.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I still think my side hurts a little bit from laughing so hard. So yes. Exactly. A lot of fun. All right. So everyone that comes on the show, we have lightning round questions for this. So the question is, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Woohoo! Okay. So first and foremost, where can our listeners find you? Where can they follow you? Yes. Where can they see you? All of that.
Okay. Well, I think the easiest place to find me is probably LinkedIn under Laurie Halter. I'm very, very active on the platform. And so reach out to me, connect there. I would love to talk to you. If you're looking for PR, you can go to charismacommunications.com, which is my PR side. And if you're looking for the Carearing podcast and you'd like to listen to previous episodes and future episodes, it's really anywhere that podcasts are found. So Apple Podcasts is probably the easiest spot to find it. We're on Apple Podcasts under Carearing.
Okay, Apple. Okay, sweet. All righty then. Outside of work, what's your favorite thing to do? What are your hobbies?
Yeah, well, travel. I mean, I don't know if that counts as a hobby, but I have found that I'm happiest when I have an adventure on the books. That is truly, I have to have, and an adventure can literally be sometimes we'll do staycations here and do a weekend away at a resort that's close to town. So I did just book Belize, which is so exciting.
Yay.
But, an adventure doesn't have to be Belize. An adventure for me can be a couple days at a resort close by. So that, and then I love hiking, paddleboarding, pretty much anything outdoors in nature. You will find me doing it. And then reading and painting and journaling. I have kind of this quiet side, creative quiet side. That's the reading and journaling and painting. And then the active side, which is the paddleboarding, hiking, golf, anything outdoors you can find me doing.
Nice. I like it. Okay. All right. So with the traveling, favorite place to go, round trip ticket, where are you going?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I'd say for where I've traveled so far, Venice, Italy, the moment I stepped off the train in Venice, Italy, I just felt do you ever have those places where you feel you're kind of home? I just felt a connection to it. Wow, I really, really feel a connection to the city. So I'd say for where I've traveled so far, Venice, but my bucket list is Greece. I will get to Greece at some point in the near future. I'd say Greece and Africa are two of my absolute bucket list items.
Greece is that is top 3 where I've yet to be there. I'm I've got to get to Greece. I just had a friend that just got back from there. I was I want to go there so badly. Yes.
Yes, it's happening. Mark my word.
Done.
The next 5 years.
I don't put up. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So that's for sure. Okay, so being a female, obviously in the industry, what's some advice you would give to another female looking to get into the industry?
Looking to get into the industry or just succeeding in the industry, or both?
Either or.
So I was speaking with a woman the other day, and she was talking about kind of finding her tribe, and she was saying, I'm having a really hard time finding my tribe, and I keep reaching out, and no one seems to want to help me. And I said, so let me ask you a question. When you're reaching out, are you offering to give anything to the folks you're offering? And giving does not have to be I'll give you free time of my content work. Are you saying, can I make a connection for you? Is there someone I can introduce you to that would help you network? And she was not. And so really, I would say for women moving into automotive or any industry for that matter, if you're trying to build your tribe, if you're trying to network, if you're trying to connect people, try to always make it about them and what can you give them that would be helpful to them versus this kind of me mindset of what will I receive. And I think when you start doing that, everything will change for you. Everything will change because there's a lot of people out there that want to help, but you have to approach it with how can I help you? Yeah.
And I'll echo that. And you're actually the first female to offer that advice, I might add.
Really?
First one.
Wow, I love it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It's very true though. I think we're very like, how can we help? How can we help? How can we help?
Yeah.
And it is so true is that when you get out of your own way and say, hey, how may I help you? How may I assist? You're going to get the reciprocation, but you have to say, how may I help before that reciprocation comes?
Yes. And the other thing that's so interesting about this giving mindset is I noticed the other day, I was kind of getting down about something, not down. I just was too much in my own head about it. And I literally wrote like, get out of this mindset. How can you get into a giving mindset about it? Because I think when we get out of our own way, we can get really spun up on like, especially if you're trying to accomplish a goal, the things that you need to do to get to that goal. And as soon as you can kind of get over that and think, okay, how can I start a giving mindset? How can I start giving to get out of this mindset? Things change like that. But it really takes getting out of your own way, really.
We are our own worst enemies sometimes.
That's right.
Yes. Right. So whether it's in life, whether it's in work, personal or work, what do you feel that you're constantly having to dispel facts from feelings or prove facts from feelings in what you do?
Yes. Okay. I love this idea. I love this overall idea of your podcast. And the more I was thinking about it, the more I'm like, I am all feeling. I am truly like all feeling. I was like, I don't even know if I use facts. And sometimes that's to my detriment. I've actually had some situations where I may have thought something about someone that is not like I may have given them more benefit than they probably deserved. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm all feeling. I'm going to continue to be all feeling. And if I get hurt sometimes due to that, that's okay. Because I'd rather be that like big, gracious feeling person. I've always been that way. Facts for me, I'm like, facts. It's why I failed math when I was younger.
That's why I failed math.
So I said that and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. I think I'm all feeling. I don't know that I actually do divide fact from feeling.
Well, it's interesting. Who was I talking to? And they were, we're talking about, facts versus feelings. And the individual said, but how do you relate it to a GM or a dealer principal when they're so feeling? I go, well, you still got to be able to have the feelings with them, but you have the data to back it up. So when they get all emotional and they are emotional, you're able to say, hey, I understand how you feel. And let me show you how this backs that up. But you have to be, you're not going to get emotional with them, but it's, hey, here's how it is. And they are very feely, but showing how this is, but also going back to what you said, that the feeling portion of it. So you can never dispel your gut feeling like that. Right. Your gut feeling is going to usually be right. But with that gut feeling, that's going to turn into factual because it is your gut feeling and that's usually right. So,
yeah. And I've learned the hard way that, and over many, many years and many, many mistakes, that if I have a gut feeling from the beginning, it's always the right decision. Yeah. It's always the right choice because I've tried in the past to continue and just like move on past that gut feeling. Let's say even for a client, from the beginning of working with someone, I used to not be as good as I am now at vetting them. And we'd get like a month or two down the road and it just got worse and worse and worse, no matter how bad I tried to correct the situation or make it right. And I've just learned that if I get that gut feeling, it's better to cut it off at the very beginning and say, let me find someone who maybe is a better fit for you, than to try and force it, because it never works. If you have that gut feeling from the beginning, just cut it loose and move on.
I had another colleague that for her company, and what she would do was she would immediately, before she ever would have a contract with someone and go get in a relationship with them, have a contractual relationship with them. That doesn't sound good either.
You're in a relationship with all of your.
Yeah, I have a business relationship with them.
Yeah.
automatically go to reputation and say, okay, if they didn't reach a certain star rating, because at this point, there's so many ways to game the system. So if you don't have a good star rating, there's something amiss there. So she goes, I automatically know that they're obviously not going to be a good client for me to bring on board. And I was like, that's actually a really good way to do it, because once again, there's the filling portion of it. And I can have the gut check of it, but once again, I'll go back to, hey, looking at this, I can tell if your 3,000 reviews, you're sitting at like a 2.8.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
Yes.
You know what? We're going to, before this even begins, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Just not a good fit.
Yeah.
So,
and I would also add to that, the money won't matter. So if, I've talked to a lot of contractors who say, yeah, but they were offering so much money. It's like, it doesn't, the money becomes secondary to the relationship. And so if the relationship is not working, the money is not worth it. It truly is.
It'll come back eventually. That
it will.
They'll find some way to screw you over.
Respects and honors your time. And you'll find it. You'll find it with the right people, but don't force it for money. Never force it for money.
Couldn't agree more. All right. So I would say you're a disruptor in the industry, where you're so always going forward to say, how can I connect? How can I help? Always. So with that, what is something, the hardest lesson you've learned or the best lessons you've learned over your time being in the industry?
Oh man, that's a great question.
I try.
I would say, that's probably what we just discussed, to be honest, listening to my gut, knowing that if something at the beginning does not feel right, cut it and move on. And I've actually had people, my employees who've worked for me, who have said, like, I can't believe you work this way. It's so great. If things aren't working, you have no fear about cutting it off. And my answer to that is, like, how sad that more people are not working that way. We really all should be working in that way. And I know saying this, it sounds a little Pollyanna. I understand people have bills to pay and you have to keep the lights on, but it should not be outside of the norm to not work with people who don't connect with your values and don't treat your people well. There's just no reason for it.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
If someone disrespects an employee, I cut you. If I ever hear about someone disrespecting one of my employees, you are gone. There's not even a question. Yeah, I will get the other side if it, if I hear that it's actual, there's not even a question. You do not treat someone else and disrespect them. Not worth it. Yeah. You're not worth it.
And more likely than not, what's so interesting, what I've learned is it is the big contracts, right? It usually is the big money that kind of brings about this mindset, but the money will come. The money will come.
Yep. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Got a couple more here.
Okay.
What is your favorite car? Do you have a favorite car?
Ooh. Oh my gosh, my favorite car. I should be better about this due to being in automotive.
Or what car are you driving?
Maybe I can see myself in like a VW, those beach cruisers. The VW vans that are different colors with a surfboard on the top. Maybe that, or maybe an open air Jeep. One of those. Something that allows me to like run around and be crazy outside.
Okay. All right. So I'll say let's wrap it up with. Do you have a favorite quote?
Oh man, these are good. I don't know if this is so much a quote, but I will tell you my favorite kind of idea or concept is from Glennon Doyle in Untamed. And I don't know if you've read Untamed, but this has been my Bible the last several years. And she talks about, the beginning chapter really talks about this caged animal. She starts it with a caged kind of leopard. And she's like, man, they're sniffing the edges and they just know there's more. They're in this cage and they're sniffing the edges and they know there's more. And like I said, it's not necessarily a quote, but that image has really stayed with me, because let's all like sniff the edges of our cage and try and figure out what's more out there. I just really like that idea that there's always more to find. There's always more to see. There's always more to do. So like, let's not sit still. There's more to go find.
There's always be evolving, always look to find ways to do more. Love it. I love the concept. I love the idea. And now I'm going to have to go read the book. So thank you.
Actually, I did think of a quote. Okay. I will also give you a quote, since that was not a quote. Yeah. And I read this a bit ago. I was going through a really rough patch, and now my daughter has it up on her wall, which is so sweet. It says, when you face adversity, be like an arrow. When you're stretched back, it will always be shooting you towards something better. And so I love that idea. Like be like
that's a good one.
Yeah, when
That's
you're
a very
stretched
good
your
one.
max, you're always getting ready to launch into something greater.
That's very nice. We're going to end on that one. That's a good one. I like that. Very, very nice. Well, thank you so much for being on here, join the show. Once again, everyone, if you have not checked out Laurie's podcast, first off, what are you doing? Go listen to it. Come on, get with the program. She's awesome. Go do it. Go check out her site. As always, everything is in the show notes, as everyone knows here. So thank you so much for being a part of this, for being just an incredible human being that you are. You're awesome. You already know this, but I'm going to reiterate it because you are, and I am grateful for you. That is for sure. Everyone, have an awesome rest of your day, your weekend. Thank you I know you have a choice to go watch something and go listen to something. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And as always, find a way to serve. Find a way to go help someone. Be kind. It takes nothing to be kind to someone. Please go serve someone. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you all next week.